Welcome to my educational series where you can improve your English proficiency and prepare for exams like TOEFL and IELTS. In this episode, we'll focus on an academic topic. You will hear talk followed by several questions. I recommend that you take some notes while listening because it will help you at the end of the conversation to answer all of the questions in the quiz correctly. So, let's get started.
All right, diving in. You know, we got some really cool resources from a listener who was super curious about, how a bean seed turns into a whole plant.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable when you think about it.
Totally. Like you look at this tiny little thing and it just, it explodes into a whole plant. So our mission today is to sort of break it down, all those key processes that make that happen.
It's like magic, but the science behind it, that's the really fascinating part. And your sources, they do a great job of laying it all out.
For sure. So let's start with the seed itself. I mean, we're talking two halves, the cotyledons, right?
The cotyledons.
And that outer shell, the testa.
Testa, yep. And let's not forget that tiny little opening.
Almost invisible. So picture this. It's a nice spring day. Conditions are perfect. What's the very first thing that kicks off this whole process?
Okay, so think of it like this, that tiny opening. That's where the seed takes its first drink water. It starts absorbing moisture and, it begins to swell.
Okay. So it's like it's waking up.
Exactly. And here's the mind-blowing part. All the instructions to build this complex plant, it's all packed in there, in that tiny little seed.
Wow. So it's like a blueprint just waiting for the right signal. And about 3 days later, things really get going, right? Germination.
Germination, yeah. So when you actually start seeing things happening.
The root comes out first.
First the root, yeah, pushing down into the soil, anchoring the seedling.
Makes sense. Got to have a strong foundation.
Absolutely. And at the same time, the shoot that starts growing upwards, reaching for the sunlight.
So it's like this two-pronged attack. Downwards for stability, upwards for energy.
Exactly. Survival strategy 101 for plants.
Makes sense. So we've got the roots, like you said, anchoring, but they're also pulling in water, right?
Oh, way more than just water. The roots are like the plant's lifeline, absorbing water, of course, but also these crucial mineral salts from the soil, like nitrates, phosphates, all the good stuff.
So it's like these are the nutrients, the building blocks the plant needs.
Exactly. It's like, imagine trying to build a house without bricks or lumber. These minerals, they're essential for growth.
Okay, that makes total sense. Now, what about the stem? It seems like it does more than just hold the leaves up.
Right. The stem, you can think of it as a superhighway.
A highway?
Yeah. Inside there are these bundles of tubes transporting up and down.
Two-way traffic.
Exactly. So the water and those minerals from the roots, they go to the leaves.
And the leaves?
They send food back down, sugars they make to nourish the rest of the plant.
So it's a whole interconnected system. Now, the leaves, your sources call them like food factories and solar panels.
Yeah, pretty accurate. They're where photosynthesis happens,
Photosynthesis, that's the process.
Think of it this way. The chlorophyll, that green pigment, it captures the energy from sunlight.
Okay, the sunlight is the energy source.
Right. And the plant uses that energy to combine carbon dioxide from the air with the water from the roots.
And that creates?
Sugar, the plant's food.
Wow, it makes its own food. And I think there was something about oxygen.
Oh yeah, a byproduct of all this is oxygen, released into the air.
So we can thank plants for our air. That's amazing. Now, there's also transpiration. Is that like plant sweat?
Haha, not exactly sweat, but it is water loss.
From the leaves, right?
Yeah, through these tiny pores called stomata, the sun warms the plant, water evaporates, and out it goes.
So it's losing water. Doesn't that seem kind of counterproductive?
Not at all. This transpiration actually creates a kind of suction, pulling more water up from the roots.
So it keeps things flowing.
Exactly. And remember those minerals. They're dissolved in the water, so transpiration helps pull those nutrients up too.
Wow, everything's connected. So to sum it all up, if I'm getting this right, green plants basically need sunlight and water to make their own food, which is basically sugar. And that sugar is what fuels their growth and provides the, the structure.
Yeah, you got it. It's pretty credible, right?
From that tiny seed to this whole system of taking things in, transporting them, making energy, it's really remarkable. So for everyone listening, think about it, that bean plant in your garden. It's like this tiny biological bean, a marvel of engineering. What other everyday thing that we take for granted are actually doing all this complex stuff behind the scenes. Definitely something to think about. And that's our deep dive for today.
Thank you for joining me today. I hope you have learned something new and useful, and see you in the next episode. Bye.